Hi, everyone. I'm just getting pulled up. Nice to see everybody here. And hello. I'm using a new technology today. So you're going to see me. I've learned everything. I just have to figure out how to bring Jennifer in. And we will get started in 2 minutes. And for now, just, um, yeah, my first time on Crowdcast too, Paul. So I'm reading your chats. Just going to. Well, okay, if you can hear me, and that is awesome. Hello, everyone coming in. Come on in. I am using, if you haven't heard yet, I'm using a new technology and I'm integrating Crowdcast, which is my first time using it with Ecamm Live. Do not worry, I will tell you about these funky little tools in a little bit. And I'm just trying to get Jennifer Beal to come in, and I can't figure out how to add her because my button went missing. So that's that. Fun to be a pioneer. I'm going to think that way. Click on her name and picture and then think there is a menu that you can drop down. Sarah Bibb, you are my hero today. Let's see if that works. Sarah, any other ideas? Because there's no drop down there. So if you saw the note, even if you suck at tech, you know why I had to learn all this tech. Sorry, guys. But we've got 1 minute to go. All right. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to do this without our Jennifer Beal to be here, which really is disappointing, but I can't figure out how to get her on. So if Sarah Bibb, you seem to know crowdcast.io, if you know how to do that, because there are no three dots beside her name, and so um, that is why, because I had a button before and it's not showing up, it's disabled. Which is the worst way to start a webinar. But you know what? I'm just going to start, and we are going to allow, Jennifer to offer insight in the chat box that we can all read and recognize, because I do want to start on time. We have so much content to get through today, and we are going to be talking about how to build and monetize an online course, and not in a matter of months, not in a matter of years, sometimes it can take, but in a matter of days and weeks. So that is the plan for today. And as we get rolling, I want to, yeah, Sarah, that's where I'm at. And that's where my button was before. So unfortunately, it's just not letting me bring her in. So I'm going to ask Jennifer if she can, Jennifer Beal, who I'm doing this for her group only. This is a special thing. Jennifer and I have done this program a few times now together, and I'll tell you, working with her is awesome. I love it. We have so much fun together. And she did the very first challenge I did right when COVID happened. A few weeks after that, I think actually two, we jumped together, we did this, we made this happen and helped people uh, to build their online course. And she called me, she said, people are asking, will you run another challenge? And so we start with a webinar. So here's the plan. I am going to give you everything you need to know, like a snapshot deep dive with like a lot of width. So like have a pen and paper ready to go over the next, I'm going to say hour to hour and 15 minutes. And I won't leave here. I put in a little bit of buffer time. So if you have questions, I will stay and answer them. Okay. And we're going to start with that. I'm going to give you a nap. Now, if you decide that you would prefer to do this with a group, I am running a challenge and I would love to have you as part of that. So I'm going to show you that opportunity at the end. Do not worry, it's not expensive, it's not anything, there's no bait and switch. You're going to get a ton of content leading up to that and your questions answered. And then if you want to do this with me coaching you, we are running a new 7-day challenge at the end or starting next week. Okay, so yes, we are recording 100%. And Jennifer Beal was supposed to come in and intro and say hello to all of you, and she'll be so disappointed. But I think it might be because I'm doubling up on my technologies. So let's just dive in. Let's make this happen. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. First thing we're gonna talk about is monetizing. Because if you're going to build an online program, it's an intense experience. And as such, we want to be sure that you're starting from a place of thinking about your business model. So I want to share with you some ways I've had success with building online programs and some of my clients have as well. The next thing we will do is we are going to talk about the principles that will help you get it done. How to avoid feeling overwhelmed, and the secret to making valuable content. Now, I got to tell you, when I didn't know this, building content that made sense for the student was much harder than it is now. And the last program I built, which was before COVID, before the lockdown, I did a program called Take Back Your Weekends. And it's a time management and a stress management program that is, part of the work that I do in my real world. And I had the idea for it on a Friday night, and by Sunday I had it mapped out and filmed. By Monday, Tuesday, was able to have it all uploaded, ready to go, and a week later I had paying clients inside the program. And so that's why what I'm teaching you, without it, I never would have been able to do that or pulled it off. It would have taken me months. So that's coming up. And then we're going to talk about the different areas of technology that you need. Okay, so I'm going to share with you some of my favorites, and I'm happy to answer questions at the very end. If you have tech questions, we will definitely, like I said, I won't leave until your questions are answered today. And then I'm going to talk about the 7-day challenge, which starts next Tuesday, October the 20th, and is so much fun if you just want to pull the Band-Aid off and get this done. So now, before we go into that, I'm going to put out a poll, and you'll see it should be up on your screen right now. A poll, it's maybe you have to hit in the bottom right corner if you can see that. If you can vote on that poll, basically what I'm asking you is, what is your experience with building online programs? Is it something you've always wanted to do, just haven't done? Is it something that you've started a couple times and it was just overwhelming? Maybe it's a whole new concept to you, but because of what's happening in the world and the marketplace, you know that you need to get this done. Is there some other thing that I haven't thought of? Or are you a pro at building online courses and you're just looking for maybe an easier way to do this? So go ahead and start voting. I see the votes coming in. And it says click on poll. That's all you do is click on the poll. Great. Keep going. Now, for the person who's put none of the above apply to me, feel free to put in the chat. So, Paul, are you seeing me on camera and all of your all of the things while people are voting? Done. Awesome. Okay, great votes. So it looks like we have a mix. People have always wanted to, just haven't done it yet, which is great. A few of you have said not, none of these apply, so feel free to put in the chat. All right, newbie. All right, Carolyn, no problem. Awesome. Okay, no problem. The voting. Paul, maybe, could somebody help Paul figure out how to see me? If everybody else can see me, that would be great. All right. Let's keep going. So let's talk about monetization. And here's why this matters. Okay. The first reason it matters is because if you don't have a way to monetize this or to impact your overall mission and vision for your life, then why put in the effort to build it, right? It's got to be a part of your overall business plan. And the reason I want you to be thinking about this up front is because if you don't think about this now, the way you build it won't necessarily be the answer to what you need. Okay, does that make sense to everyone here? Sarah is suggesting to Paul, if you log out and come back in, we should be good to go. So here are some different ways that I've seen it monetize. You can do a standalone course, and basically what that is okay, I have this course on whatever your topic area is. Actually, I'd love to know what your topic area is so I can pull some examples. Could you just put those in the chat, please? Let me know. Like, are you teaching? Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you're in. Are you teaching exercise? Are you teaching personal development, confidence? We had a student who was teaching people how to stay in their own home when they age. Fascinating course. Someone who did diversity and in meetings, on Zoom meetings, for example. So you want to be thinking about that. So a standalone course could be this. You teach yoga, and somebody would go on your website or a lead page. They would say, I want that yoga course. They would click on it, buy it, and use the course. So you get the financial reward. They get a course that they use, but you two don't actually do a lot of interaction together. The next way it can be done, oh, I love this, resiliency, slashing racism, getting unstuck, increasing profits with strategic partnerships. It's our Jennifer Beal coaching. Okay, awesome. So all of those will fit into all of these. So a standalone course for free, for a fee, so they pay for it. The other way you can do it is a standalone course for free. So nothing, like for example, this is a lead magnet. So this isn't an online course, but this is a live training session. It's free. I'm going to give you a ton of value. And then if you like me, if you want to work with me and you want more knowledge, then you have the chance to purchase later. That model works exceptionally well because people can sort of to get a taste of how you operate and the value you have to offer. Now, the key is when you do that, you need to have it stand alone as value. Okay. You can't like bring people in and do a sales pitch because that's tacky and nobody wants that. The third way is to add value to your current clients. And when I've been in business now for 14 years, and when I started my company, I taught networking. And I would go to conferences and do workshops, and I teach people how to mingle and how to, have table manners and how to have good conversations and all of these different pieces, like even how to shake a hand. And I actually wrote a book on this, 2 books, and was published by Wiley, and it's used as a textbook for some universities. And what I was able to do with an online course when I would coach people one-on-one was I would plug them into the course so that I didn't have to, and this is a combination of 3 and 4, so I didn't have to keep reteaching the basics, the foundational material. So if you're coaching people and you know that there are certain times when you're like, oh, am I teaching this again? Then you want to put it into an online course. They do that. That saves you up and frees your time so you can do the stuff you love, the strategy, the application of the foundational content. Okay? Awesome. I still have your first card. Okay, awesome. And then the third way, or the fifth way, and this is my favorite, and I'm going to say the most lucrative way, unless you have a huge following, is to add it to your corporate sales. So, for example, I'll use that first networking course that I built. I would go in, do a keynote. I charge X amount of thousands of dollars for that. I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to do that. And then I would say, you know what, if you want to really make this content stick, what if we plugged everybody into the online program afterwards? And they'd love that idea. And so then you'd have 100 people in the audience, and maybe you give them, $47 a person because it's a big, group, or $97 a person. Well, you've just taken your training or consulting fee and you've increased it by say $4,700 or even $9,700, right? Or by $100 or whatever number fits for you. We don't want to get too lost with all of the numbers, but that's another way that can really help. And so if you were to look at those 5, what would you think? Like and I'm not going to hold you to this, but off the top of your head right now, where do you think is the most likely place that you would end up making money, or you would want to focus your effort? 1 for a standalone course, 2 for a lead magnet, add value for your current clients. So, hey, you've got a coaching client. You can say, you know what, if you add an extra $300 a month, you're going to get access to this, or just same amount of money, but now you also get access to my library. What would you just throw in the chat? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 for me, please. I'm waiting. I know I'm 20 seconds ahead, so I'm waiting for you to put those in the course description or the course chat box. There we go. 1 and 5. Thank you, Martina. You started the typing for us. 1 and 2, combo of both, perfect. 2, 4, 5. And see, this is the beauty. So once you know how to actually build the course, you can do it like over and over and over and over again, and just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, good. Well done. I like to see the variety too. So a couple things to kind of get you into the thinking of the actual building of the course. So focused effort is more effective than doing too much at once. And I'm going to tell you, there is a chance that some of you may have a lot of information to share. Are you with me? Okay. And what happens is you have so much content. Yeah. Wouldn't there be, Todd, I'm going to answer that question in 1 second. You have so much content, so you want to be totally focused on your effort and what you're building instead of like this course does not have to be your manifesto. Like if I had to tell you the number of times I have told clients that it's like, okay, let's slash that and park it so that we're totally focused on this one step right now. Todd's asked a question. I want to answer the questions as we go if I can. Wouldn't universities produce online courses of their own? Absolutely, they do. And not all universities are or have been over the course of the years. That was several years ago, even though my book is still used for a couple places right now. Um, they're looking to subject matter experts who can teach it. And just because you're a professor at university, you don't always have access to the entire body of knowledge that your students need. And as such, they often look for published books and online programs that can support their learning and the best value for their students. Okay. All right. Focus effort. So here's an example of Colleen, who Jennifer introduced me to. And Colleen had built a program in the past. It took her 2 years to build it. And with focused effort, she was able to build her course in 3 days. So just went away and did it. The other piece is there's so much to learn that I want you to not learn anything that is not an absolute requirement. Okay? You got to be blinders on if you want to build this fast. So yes, there are certain things you can build and you can do and different technologies you could use. Just focus, 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 focus. And Amy Kemp was someone who she's like a really huge out of the States with one of the big network marketing companies that I won't mention, but you can look her up. And she hadn't done the video tech before in her life or the building the online course. And because she only learned the pieces that she needed to learn, was again very, very quickly able to get an online program up and running and doing it. And this line right here, if you don't start repeating it when you're building a course, you're probably going to get stuck. I know that because I have to do it all the time. Done is better than perfect. You can always edit a course. If you're using the right technologies, you can actually just update in real time, which is awesome. So this is huge because if we aim for perfection, we're never going to get there. Now, you want to create a course that you're proud of. You want to create a course that is going to serve your student. But what I'm finding in the marketplace is that people want authenticity more than they want perfection. People are hurting right now. People desperately need what you have to tell them. And we can't hold back. Like every day, and I say this all the time, every day you delay in getting your course out in the public is another day that somebody is waiting for what you have to offer. And I know that sounds dramatic, but I have seen people's lives change because they have built a course, they got it up online, and first time through, you're going to learn. You're going to be like, maybe I got to switch that. I got to add this. I got to add that. No problem. But until you have students in the course, you're really guessing, well, educated guessing, but you won't know how to make it perfect until you have people go through it. And a lot of times, especially if you care a lot about what happens, we can get stuck in the perfection loop. And the last principle I want to leave with you here is that you need to believe that what you have to offer has value. Because without that guiding light, if you don't have somebody in mind who you want to serve, remember there was one program that I built specifically. I built it because I wanted to help a friend of mine who was going through a difficult time and needed some work done, and I created a program called Revenue Rescue specifically to help her get her business on track. And because I did that, I was able then to sell it to other people. So, if you can keep that person in mind, who on the other end, and you talk to that person, then you can take the eyes off yourself and not get stuck in, am I good enough? Do I have enough to offer? Does it happen? Right? And so Jennifer has said here, e-learning is hot, 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 hot. I like it. So I'm like it hot, 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 hot. 100%. And, I know initially when we did this with COVID, everything shut down and people were literally saying things like, oh, but you know what, I'll do this for now, and then in the fall it'll be back to business as usual. We're in the fall and it is not business as usual. Who's with me? Right? It's not. Okay. Any questions at this point? I'm going to actually just pause for a moment, look for questions, because we're going to get into the different pieces of the program right now as next. And so I have a 20-second delay, which is fun because now I'm waiting for you to hear me and ask me questions. If you ever wondered if you could do this, you can do it. Okay, so many workers and entrepreneurs need to upskill. This is the other thing, right? Like the marketplace right now is so hungry for content, and businesses too. Like if they had a budget set aside for all these big conferences and now those conferences are not available, you know what? You can fill that gap by doing something virtually. And if you have an evergreen, that means it never goes out of style, right? It's the same content over and over again that somebody can plug and play and watch at 2 o'clock in the morning because they can't sleep, or watch at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because that's the time they have in their schedule, and learn something of value, then you can build a business. Okay, I'm going to keep going. And as the questions come, put them in the chat, and I will keep an eye on those for you. Okay, so people will say to me, Allison, what platform should I use for my online program? And I'm like, well, have you built the online program yet? No. Okay, then you don't need to worry about what online program to use. Because there's an order to doing things. And if you don't do it this way, you're going to get overwhelmed. Now, I can answer those questions, and I will answer those questions today for sure. And if you follow this, remember, laser-like focus is the key to building an online program quickly. So we want to create the content, the videos, the elements that are going to go into your training program. And then we want to publish it. So publishing it means getting it up on the internet, getting your videos uploaded and streaming inside the program, getting your colors all done and making it all look pretty, doing your sales page. All of those pieces happen within the publishing phase. And the third piece is promote. And so some people say you can promote before you've created. And if you've ever heard that, I understand the advice. So sell it before you actually have something to sell. But here's the issue with that. What I've seen happen and what I've heard from people, students, is that they see that happening. They're selling the program because you want to test the market, right? Is there any viability to what I want to create? But if you don't have it built or at least mapped out and ready to go, then you end up sort of backtracking, and it could be late. You've got paying students. You need to respect that. and be sure that what you're going to do, it's not going to be off the cuff because, oh my gosh, I sold, 100 programs and now I got to scramble to figure it out to get it live for Monday because I promised it, right? Like it doesn't work for me. I, some people could argue that, but it's a longer conversation. So my thinking is let's create it with the end user in mind. Then we publish it, get it all ready to go, sparkly, done is better than perfect, ready to go. And then you put the sales strategy in. Now, I want to be really clear. My expertise is not the sales strategy. There are many, many people who can help you with that and who would be excellent to do that. And actually, I have a program that I highly recommend for it. That's the promotion. But I'll tell you, creating and publishing your course all day long, I can help you get that done. Easy, easy peasy. So let's talk about creating. I remember for my very first book that I tried to write. So this would have been in 2008. No, before that. 2007. It doesn't matter. End of 2007. I was trying to write this book. It was on networking, and my first draft was awful. And I know it was awful because my mom, who is my biggest cheerleader and has edited everything I've ever done, she had edited every column I'd written. At that point, I'd been a columnist for 4 years. And, all of the articles I'd read, like everything, right? And I handed her my book, like the first couple chapters, and she fell asleep reading it. Oh, if your biggest cheerleader is super excited about you writing a book and falls asleep in the first chapter, it's not good. But anyway, here's what I learned after I started that first attempt. And it changed my thinking and my approach to every piece of content I've ever created since. And it's this, that to think, to write, and to edit are 3 separate steps. Now, it may be something that you do intuitively, but here's why this matters. Because when we look at the creating formula, if you can get your entire program mapped out, figure out what elements am I going to do, and we spend the time up front doing this. Okay, so this will take, in a 7-day challenge, I notice about day 3, day 4, people are done the thinking and planning step. Okay, that's about what it takes. If you do that, then when you go to write the content, or you can put write with filming as well if you're doing video. If you go to the filming, it's super, super, super duper easy. And it happens exceptionally quickly. Okay? So if we start with the thinking, we map that out, put the time in there. That one of my favorite sayings is invest time today to buy back time tomorrow. And that's what that thinking phase is, and is so important. Then you write it, then you film it, you get all the pieces created, and then you edit it. But see, when I first tried to write my book, what I did was try to do all of that at once. And maybe you've ever done this, different than writing an online course, but not that much different in terms of creating content. But you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm going to write a book. And you start writing the first line. And an hour later, you haven't gotten past your first sentence because you're trying to make it perfect. And the thing is that you can think, write, and edit in 3 separate steps. You will write a lot faster. And so my second stab, after I learned this framework from Perry Sean, I spent several months mapping out my first book. I pulled all the information. I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach this, and I'll teach this, and this, and this. And then I put them in order. And I went away and I wrote my very first book in 5 days. And I often joke with 5 bottles of wine. Uh, but I came back and then I spent a whole bunch of time editing and actually getting the book published. But because I knew that the thinking stage was so critical, the writing of the book was simple and it all made sense. Okay? Good. Talking. Before I move on to the next thing, are you with me? Can you give me something here in the chat box? Let me know how it's going. Is this all making sense? How are you doing? A little bit more water. Okay. So I'm doing the delay, which is too bad because now you're going to get a long delay waiting for me to have the delay of seeing you in the chat box, but I'll come back to it. Okay. So now we're just putting on our thinking and planning cap. Okay. Thank you for the thumbs up. You've caught up to me. All right. So we're just doing the planning. Okay, so now here is where the magic is going to happen for you. And I mean that. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rose. That's kind of you to say. Love it. Thanks, Allison. Yes, making sense. Okay, yeah. Awesome. All right. Let's get through this. Remember I said earlier that this does not need to be your manifesto. We need to choose one purpose. What is the one thing at the end of your program, whether you choose the monetization of a lead magnet, if it's a corporate add-on, if it's an evergreen add-on for your clients, whatever it is, doesn't matter which of the monetization strategies you choose. For each product you create, we need to figure out what is the outcome that somebody will get from the course. One outcome. So for me, on this program that I created, the outcome at the end of it is you will have an online course created, and published. Very clear, don't teach the sales. If at the end of the course you will know, we have one guy who did a course on aerodynamics and setting up your home office. So it was all about, okay, what is the setting up of your home office to be aerodynamically designed? It was not, because he's like, well, then I thought maybe I should do some stretches and all of that. And I'm like, okay, but that's not the point of the course, right? Even though that's critically valuable, you need to have that as an add-on or a separate course. We want to be really, really super focused on the outcome. But here's the key. Once you know the outcome, so for example, I'll do my Take Back the Weekends program. I knew at the end of it, I'm trying to think what my actual outcome was. I wanted people to be less stressed and by their to-do list and have a system that was integratable and uncomplicated to be able to manage everything they have to get done without the overwhelm. And so I have a problem-solving framework, and I knew, like, there's so much content in there. But if that was my outcome, so less stress by their to-do list and on top of everything they have to get done, okay? So then I had to think, okay, well, what are the behaviors that somebody needs to take or to do that if they do this behavior, they will get that outcome? And this is the critical question. So for example, actually, I'm going to take this program that I built. I wanted somebody to have a course built at the end. So the first thing I wanted to do, the behavior, because I know a lot of people get overwhelmed with course creation. And I know that because I built many courses and I have been by myself without anybody walking me through it. And I have been exceptionally overwhelmed and wanting to quit and giving up many, many times, but I generally kept going, which is why I can teach you this now. I knew the behavior, so one of the behaviors was that if you got overwhelmed, I needed you to take an action that wasn't quitting. Okay? So you've got an outcome. I want you to build a course. Then the behavior one that I need you to change is if you get overwhelmed, I want you to go back to the last step in the course and focus your effort on just that one thing. Okay? So in order to do that, then the content is designed to to create the behavior. This is critical. And I wish I had somebody on the screen um, to walk through with this. All right. Because you can do it. Todd's got a question. Oh, about the last time. Yes. When I say think, no, I mean writing it all out. So doing the thinking work that, yes, you could think it, but getting to the post-it notes, brain dumping. I use a mapping program. It's called Mind Map. And I'll put this in here. It is $2.99 per month for the professional version. And that's where I built this graph that I have on the screen in now. So when I say mapping, I mean going for it, putting it all out on paper, seeing what works, deleting stuff, or not even deleting, parking stuff is what I like to call it, for another course, dragging things so that they're in the right order and making sense. Those are the kind of things I mean when you're thinking. So thinking is your plotting. Okay, well, I like that better. Plotting. Hope that helps. Okay. So now when we're doing our plotting, what we want to plot is this. What is the outcome that my student is going to get from participating in this course? In order to achieve that outcome, what behavior must they take or change? That if they do this, they will automatically achieve the behavior or the outcome. And once you know that, then the content teaches them the behavior. Often, the way it works when we sit down to write a course is people will list out, they skip the behavior step and they try to teach to the outcome. But we actually have to teach to the behavior so that they can get the outcome. It's a nuance, but it's powerful. And here's why. Let's say, okay. You're going to use the example, and I don't know the content inside and out because I didn't get that deep into it after the mapping portion. But remember I mentioned the Melissa who did a program on, and Fodi, the two of them did it together, a program on how to build, how to stay age in place. So how do you stay in your home and adapt your home for the elderly so you don't have to go into a home? And so let's say one of the behaviors might be to modify and make the house more accessible. So minimizing stairs, doing things like that. If the behavior is make the house accessible and you start looking at the content, maybe one of the things is if you're in a walker, you need to add a ramp to your front door. Okay. So now that's the behavior. And I'm making this up. I don't know if that's what you need to do. If the behavior is you need to modify for accessibility, and one of the pieces of content is I need to put a ramp in my front door, you could go down the rabbit hole of, types of ramps, how to find a good contractor, um, you know, how long the ramp should be, like whatever. But that would be an overwhelming amount of content. So instead, what we want to do is look at all of that stuff and go, what can we get rid of that isn't specific enough or helpful enough? What is the bare minimum that someone needs to know in order to create the behavior? So if the behavior is we need to make it accessible and you need to add a ramp to your front door that is X amount long, or on this thing, it might just be too much information. You might instead say you need to add a ramp and here are the codes, or here's where to find the current government codes, and you'll need to find a reputable contractor in your area. Right? That becomes the content as opposed to all of the different stuff. I don't think that was the best example, but I hope you're getting this. So, outcome, behavior. Based on the behaviors, and normally you'll have 3 or 4 behaviors. So with this program in mind, I'm going to tell you, I have the overwhelm thing was huge. So that's why I have people make a pledge. You have to actually record a pledge that I'm going to stick to the program. I'm not going to, skip ahead, all of that. And I love getting those from students. Then you need to create the course, which means you have to do the thinking stage, so the plotting. So I go in depth in this inside the program. Then I need you to publish the course. And what I realized is you can't publish a course if you don't have all the technology answers. So I did all of the tutorials for every technology you need to build a course. Okay? So think about it. Outcome, build a course. Behavior change, I need you to not get overwhelmed. I need you to think through the content. I need you to publish the content. And I need you to edit it and make it all pretty and make it look great. Okay, those are the behaviors. From that, in order to not feel overwhelmed, you take a pledge. You, have an accountability buddy. For the challenges, I offer one-on-one or group coaching and full tech email support for the 7 days. And then those become the topics. Does that make sense? I hope you're getting this. I love this stuff. This is so fun for me. And then once we have the content, then you decide, do I need to do a video with me on camera? Do I need to do a screen grab with my voiceover, right? Where you might just record your video or like your screen and teach somebody that way. Do I need to do a PDF that's a workbook? Do I need to do a Google form? You can choose all of the elements. Do I want to do a quiz? Do I want to, have an assignment where they have to record something or show me their work? If you do and plot and brain dump in this order, then the figuring out is a video or all of that makes it really, really super simple. But a lot of times when people say to me, oh, I'm thinking I'm going to shoot a whole bunch of videos. And I'm like, whoa, don't shoot videos yet. What if you don't need videos? Like, what if you only need one video and you're going to shoot 20? But what you really need are a whole bunch of screen captures from your course, like from your computer. Then you don't need a studio, lights, camera, action, professional photographer, which, by the way, you don't need anyway, but you know what I mean. So if we do it in this order, this is so much more effective. Okay. So you can replay this. I'm going to replay this for you. I'm going to give you a thing. So if you want to go over that a couple times, because if you haven't done any development of adult learning, then this may feel like really out of left field. But if you have, this will feel like second nature. All right. We're getting there. We've got to keep going. Got the technology. I told you this is like a lot of content all at once. But I want to give you everything you need to be thinking about in order to go and do this on your own if you wanted to start tonight. Okay? So let's talk about tech. I love tech, she says. And here's the thing. I love technology because I figured out how to not be frustrated with technology when it goes wrong. Because often something will go wrong. Case in point, we don't have the incredible Jennifer Beal on this like film with me right now because I couldn't figure out the technology. We just roll with it. I'll figure it out for next time. But here's what you need. You need to know how to create the elements. So I'm going to come back here. This piece here, okay? For your program. Videos, there are several programs you can use. It depends how much editing you want to do. Now, I'm a fan of a program called Camtasia. The thing is, it's a little bit more expensive, and it's the one that I teach in the program, but they're all about the same. There's another one called Filmora, which is much less expensive, works about the same, and has all the features that I learned during this from one of my students who didn't want to invest the money in Camtasia. So see, you're always learning. So that's great. Worksheets, I'm becoming a huge fan of just doing them as Google Forms is an option, or Google Docs. I use PDFs and Adobe, and you can make them fillable forms. Do you know what I mean by that? When you have a PDF and somebody sends it to you, but it actually like has all the spaces for you to type in, really easy to do, a little bit of a finicky job in fairness, and something you might want to look at like Fiverr, and somebody could just do it really fast for you, or I show you how to do it. Happy to. Mapping. So for mapping, I like, and I've already put this in the chat box, but let me put it here, mindmap.com. Again, I said it's $2.99 a month, probably the best $3 I've spent. US though, of course, everything online is US dollars. That's just the way it is. So that is really helpful for me, I found, to have a mapping program. The other thing I do, old school post-it notes for the mapping. I will do a lot of this, especially when I'm writing a book, okay, or creating anything big like an online course. I often will start here and then move to the online mapping program. Okay. There is, I'm going to go here, Filmora and Camtasia are my two faves. Okay, so that's great. Then we want to edit the programs. And I had a lot of questions about this. And people were like kind of confused on why they had to do the editing. So here's the thing. You don't. You could literally clip the end and the other end and use that as a video. No problem. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to back up 1 second. Another way to do this is, if you don't need the editing, is to use Zoom, right? Or any of the screencast type things where you can be on camera and do it live. One of the greatest ways, if you are struggling with filming video, that I have found to just get it done is better than perfect, is to put a client on Zoom with you and record you coaching them through a process. Okay, it's an option. The trouble with recording with Zoom is recently, and when I say recently, I say a few months ago, they changed their level of recording quality. And so some of the videos can be really quite grainy and not effective. Okay, so with that in mind, if you're going to do Zoom or want to do that, I'm going to encourage you to text me or email me, and I can sort of walk you through the different settings that can make that a little bit better. But the editing the program, you'll notice in some of mine, I'll put, like especially on my YouTube channel, I'll add in, I have this Allison Graham written in handwriting that goes just like that. Anyway, so I can put that in an editing software. Okay, so this is again, that's the Camtasia type thing. Another one, if you just want to screen record, um, Apersoft. Yes, you can record Camtasia while on the call. Okay, if your machine is powerful enough for it. Sometimes having two things recording a screen can actually crash your computer as well. WebEx is Cisco WebEx. Is that what you're meaning by that? 100%. Totally could work as well. If you have GoToWebinar, I'm trying crowdcast.io today for the first time. I actually kind of like the platform. If only I could figure out how to bring Jennifer on camera. I think there's a lot of value in it. Okay. But the thing is, there's no right answer. But remember, one of the principles I shared up front is you only want to learn the things you absolutely need to learn. So if you're already comfortable on Zoom, let's use Zoom. If you have an iPad and you want to do Apple Pencil stuff, okay, totally possible to do that and record your whiteboard as well. Now, let's talk about where you're going to publish the program. And I know I said we'd be done in an hour and 15 minutes, so I'm well on track for that timeline. I just wanted to let everybody know. If you had to, somebody did tell me that they wanted to, they had to go right at 1. So I've put up a button right now, which is for the actual course that goes in depth into every one of these technologies and every purpose program that you want to do. And then, of course, with the free bonus 7-day challenge when you buy the program. So publishing the course, there are a few. I'm going to write them out for you here, and I'll actually even give you some links. But there's Thinkific, which is my favorite. Okay. There is a new one called mastermind.com. And this is actually done by Dean Garazi and like ClickFunnels guy, Russell Brunson. I joined it and I posted this program up there. I'm actually going to take it down. I don't think it has enough features that allow for interaction with your student. However, there are some times when it's really important, or it could be really good. Another is a thing called Kajabi, and it's a little, I find it's not quite as intuitive as Thinkific is. Okay, there's another one with Teachable, but here's what I'm going to do. I put in 4, and there are probably 40 more options. Kartra is another one. But here's what I'm going to do. I want to make it super, 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 super simple for you. And so my advice is go with Thinkific. You can start for free to get everything uploaded. There's a $47 a month option. There is a $99 US option. Everything online is in US dollars, just seems to be the way it is. So when you're always calculating that extra money, okay? Through the chat to invite an attendee who has already added a message in the chat, hover over them. Oh, I like that. Thank you. Jennifer? It's just giving me a follow option. Thank you for that idea. So here's the thing. You cannot go wrong with choosing any one of these platforms. So, but if you just choose one, because people will get stalled for months. Oh my gosh, I've had people who I've not worked with, but who know me through my speaking work and everything, who are like, I'm going to build an online program, and I'll talk with them, in January about, okay, well, Thinkific's great. Why don't you just use that? And like by, March. They're like, gosh, what program should I use? I'm like, just pick one. You can't go wrong. They're all awesome. They're all awesome. Then you need things like promoting the program. And one of the things I like to use a lot is called Canva. And if you're not familiar with Canva, um, it is a great tool for uh, building out images and having a lot of stock things. And then the selling the program is, again, not in my thing, but I will share with you something that I recommend to everybody. Grab up my stickies here. And where is the one funnel away challenge? Right here. This is a course. They start every few weeks. Okay, it's an affiliate link, so I encourage you to get that one. Um, so it's one funnel away. They teach you everything about selling an online program. And so if you do my course first, which is what I think people have really enjoyed doing, and then go into one funnel away, you'll have the entire package. Okay. So those are the pieces of technology. And again, I will stay after to answer any specific tech questions you may have. All the other stuff you don't need. And it may seem a little bit overwhelming, but I'll assure you it is not when you have blinders on and you're totally focused on the one step you're doing and you only learn the pieces of the puzzle that you need in order to build the course. Okay. So what I did, and I probably should back up a little bit and tell you this because I didn't tell you at the beginning. Teaching people how to build online courses is not actually my main business. I have been in business for 14 years. I work with corporate clients and speak at conferences and now virtual summits for professionals to teach them resiliency and my problem solving framework. And I do that so that people can be less attached to their challenges and their changes and have more space for grieving what used to be and getting the work done. So that is my main work. Now, over the last 14 years, I have written four books, a fifth one that is written but not actually published. And I have just because of COVID, it wasn't the right time to publish it. And several online programs. And I have sold those programs to banks, to educational institutions, to individuals, to small business owners, accounting firms over the last 14 years. But when I first built my online program, my very first online program, and it would have been like 2010, I'm going to guess, if I were to go back into the archives. I got to tell you, it was not that easy because you were learning all of this like stuff and you were integrating it into like WordPress and website and maybe it was 2012. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I learned and I learned and I learned and I learned. And now I can create an online program in a matter of a week, sometimes days, 2, 3, 4 days. I created this program in a total of 4 days. So here's the option. First of all, I have given you enough information that you can have this replay, go do what you need to do. If you ever needed me for one-on-one, you can look at my coaching options. That's awesome. But if you're sitting there and you're going, oh my gosh, I feel like this is something I love learning, but actually doing it feels intimidating, then I'm going to encourage you to use my online program that I built that walks you in depth through every piece of this puzzle from start to finish. And if you see here on your screen, you can see there's the Let's Get Started, group call, coaching calls, let's do this. Now, the planning your content, there are 13 or 15, I can't see on there, modules. So, talking about the think, write, edit, talking about all of that behavior stuff, working through it, giving you examples, drawing it out one piece at a time with me and a video. Then it's the learning elements. How do you film? Like, how do you have the lights set up right? What camera do you use? Absolutely everything that you need. And then how do you publish the course? So using Thinkific as the main guide, the one that I choose, step by step by step by step. This program is designed so when you show up on day one, you start at the very top of the module. There are, I think, 36 to 37 modules in the course. And when you are done at the end, you will have an online course built. That's it. That, like, everything you need is in there. Now, I built this, and you're thinking it's going to be a ton of money. And you know what? It's not. It should be $2,000. I get that. I've had students say it. I have it posted now still at the introductory rate, which is $297 US. Now, people say, well, I want to pay Canadian. Great. Then it's $347 Canadian, and you can email me directly and plus HST. Okay. So if you want to do that, that's great, but it still works out to be the same amount of money. When you buy this program for that $297, you have access forever. It is yours. Go for it. Learn, work through it at your own pace. Awesome. But for the fourth time and the last time in 2020 that I have planned, I'm going to do a bonus 7-day challenge. So what this is it's group coaching every day starting next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Whoever's in the group, we come on, and if you can't make the live calls, no problem. You'll get a recording of it. But I will coach you through every step of the way. The first 3 to 4 days are going to be spent on all of that plotting, all of the planning, getting your behaviors figured out, your outcome dialed in. We're going to get all of the pieces. What are the videos? All of that. Day 4 through and 5 are basically filming, creating all the content, etc. And 6 and 7 are when we do the publishing. I have seen people who couldn't figure out how to, get on Zoom, have a course finished and published by the end of the week. So you get the full access to the program, the bonus 7-day challenge at no extra charge. During the 7 days, I make myself available for triage support. So if you are stuck and technology is taking you, 2 hours and you can't figure out what you're doing, then send me an email. If I'm available, I'll hop on a quick Zoom call with you. Not to be overdone, but nobody's ever taken advantage of it, truthfully. So I'm more than happy to do that because I have so much experience in these technologies that I can help you fix it in a matter of like 2 or 3 minutes instead of you spending 2 or 3 hours. So that is just, again, for the 7-day bonus email support and live coaching if required. The plan was to charge this for $9.97. I have people say it is more than worth that. But I want to make it accessible because here's the deal. Right now, we're virtual. That's how people are learning. And I don't think it's going to change. And so if you want to serve people online, then we need to get your content up and running. And once you've done this once, you can rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Okay, so you can build another program, another program, another program. And I am going to open it up for questions. So go ahead. I'm going to read through some of these, tell you a couple stories, and then we'll wrap. So it's all question and answer at this point. This is Angela. She is not a tech savvy person to the point where she was really nervous. And I know she shared the story, so I don't mind sharing, where she was nervous to even go on a Facebook Live. And so we, as part of the challenge, supported her, went in and watched, helped her get on live. And now she's just booming. She's doing great stuff online. Super, super excited for her. Christine Beverly, when she called me, uh, after we did a webinar like this, and she's like, hey, can I just get 10 minutes of your time to talk? And by the way, if you're thinking about it, for sure, I would be happy to, hop on a quick call with you and to see if this is the right thing for you. But she cried. She's like, Allison, she said, I just get so overwhelmed. I desperately want to have a course up and running and I need help. And I'm like, I will help you. She did it. She finally, after 14 years of having the dream to build her program, was able to get it done. And I'm so super excited about it. Deepal has now become a coaching client and ongoing after we did this course together, she built a program on diversity and inclusion in virtual meetings. And that very much is her specialty. And then Maura, another friend from Jennifer Beal, introduction and just full of enthusiasm and excitement for serving other people online, and just really incredible how we were able to get her course up and running. And she actually uses it as a lead magnet. And then Clifford, just a great quote, and did it outside of a challenge. He actually built it outside of a challenge uh, because the course is evergreen. So if the timing doesn't work, but there's one thing that if you are doing this, you're going to go into this challenge. And the reason I do a separate webinar for Jennifer Beal is because Jennifer has a huge special offering that is only available to people who come to me through her list. Okay, because she has a really great email list, and that is this. And I hate to steal her thunder because I wish she could tell you herself. If you purchase the program and you do this challenge with us, when you're done, when you succeed, when you publish your program, she is going to actually share your program in her community. She has a page that is dedicated and she does emails. This would cost thousands of dollars if you wanted to go to her directly and promote your program through her. She works solely on commission, and people like offer her thousands of dollars to have access to her list. You will actually get it as a free bonus if you finish in time. So please know, not everybody gets that. That is only for people who are connected to Jennifer. And so even on the coaching calls, we don't really bring it up because there are other people who are not part of that. But it's a special bonus that she's offered, and it's only for you. So regardless if you do the challenge, and I hope you absolutely will do the challenge, because I know how much fun it is when you have people supporting you when you get discouraged. And we come together every day. We can go over, answer any of your questions, get clarity, and we can fast track your ability to do it. So if you buy the program, which I believe is a very, very, very reasonable price, because it's all right there, then you will get that coaching for free, and you'll always have access to the program. So I would love to have you on it. And I'm going to go back to the chat and look because I saw some questions. I hope you can do this. It'll be great to have you as part of it. And my number, the click is think. Oh, you may want the link. It is. It's going to go AllisonGraham.co/create. And if you're here, I already have you tagged as being affiliated with Jennifer, which means that's all you have to do. Okay, just go to that. You're so welcome, Martina. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to go up. Another way to invite. Thank you for all the efforts to get her to come online. Yes, love Zoom. Camtasia. Yes, Phil Mora. Okay, that was from there. There was a question I missed. MS Teams. Sure. You know what? I had a meeting on MS Teams today, and it was so unreliable. However, I think that there is a lot of value in it, it can be really good. And if you have it and you're used to using it, you know where everything is, go for it. Absolutely. 100%. Okay. Any other questions? I am here. As you know, I love this stuff. I like think it's because I remember Deb Crow. She called me. She had a course that she built in a short amount of time. I think it took her a couple of weeks before she was ready to put it out into public. And absolutely, Laura, it does make online courses possible. So I hope you'll join us. And she filled up her first coaching session. So she had 10 people for her beta group. Every one of them turned into a coaching client. So she did the beta group for, I forget how much money she charged, like $147 for the first week, for the first challenge. And then she was able to transition those people into coaching clients. Like, how amazing is that? Like, there's so many options that you can choose to do. Lots for me to consider. Absolutely, Todd. If you need me, have any questions, I know we've already been back and forth on email, so you're welcome to email me. And thank you, thank you, thank you. So all these great thanks. Any, oh yes, absolutely. Martina, corporate, loves MS Teams. They do love it. Although today the question was, do you want to use for the online training, like the actual training that we're going to do? Do you want to do MS Teams or Cisco WebEx? And I was like, ooh, if I have a choice, let's do WebEx training. Okay. All right, and you can click the green banner that is below all of this the whole time, and use that as a link as well to this. I think with that, there are no other, oh, there are more questions here. Sorry, one sec. How does course come to me at, oh yes, that was from before. Yeah, so I wasn't going to send you the slides, Sarah, but I was going to give you the recording. So hopefully that makes sense, and you can fast forward to whatever slide you want. For the sales pages, as part of the promotion, what do you use? Okay, so with a sales page, Thinkific has a built-in sales page already in the system. So I teach that to get you up and running. What I don't teach is the content, although we can always on our coaching calls play around a little bit with that. And it's really neat when you have the whole group on there helping you. Then the way I do it is you'll notice my sales page is actually a WordPress page that I use on my website. And I did that purely for design. Thinkific allows a very simple, we're going to put this one little piece in and it's going to go to, it'll redirect, like it's one check mark and a link, and it will redirect to the page. So we can do either or. Okay. Will you help us distill our many ideas? 100%. Laura, so what I find is the first day, okay, so the first day to day 3 on the group coaching is idea. It's that initial thinking. Okay, so it's how do we plot this out? And I will literally, I have my, we'll do a whiteboard because we'll use Zoom for that. We won't use Crowdcast. I will do a whiteboard and we will map it out and we'll do live coaching and hot seats so that you can figure out your main idea to move forward. So that's a big part of what the group coaching is all about. Yes. Oh, and Thinkific has an affiliate program already built in. There are limitations. If you want to use an affiliate program, I will teach you how to do it. I'm choosing to track my affiliates off-site so that we can use the same purchase link. But yes, it's there. If yes, absolutely. I have so much to share and don't know where to begin. Laura, you know what? You are not alone. And this is the thing. You probably have 10 courses in you, I'm going to guess, like not one. And so the key is figuring out all of that and figuring out where's the easiest place to start. Thinking back to the monetization, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Where do you want to begin? And then we can say, okay, what makes the most sense? If I could only teach one thing, what would be the easiest thing for me to learn how to build an online program? And then we'll just drill down, we'll distill it, and we'll build that. And then the next week, you can start all over again with the next one and the next one and the next one. And that's the cool piece of learning this system on how to do it. Todd, for sure, I will send you a copy of the recording. That email will go out. Yes, I do have a great process. Thank you, Jennifer, for distilling ideas, and that works. Martina, there are two key payment platforms. So Martina has asked, can you recommend a payment platform to use? You can use PayPal, is what you're questioning. I'm going to shy away from it. And here's why. It can take a lot longer to get your money from them, depending on how long you've been using it and what level you have. It's a little bit harder to get integrated, but I'll tell you something. Stripe, which is integrated in a matter of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clicks, is literally one click with Thinkific. And most, once you have an account set up, most companies, most platforms integrate with it. Stripe is the go-to standard in online world. They're just so easy, and you get your money like it comes. You can choose if you want it to balance at the end of every day. So if money's in the account, it'll go directly into your bank account. Now, it does take a couple days, but I had somebody a few weeks ago who said it had taken 25 days from PayPal. So that's a piece. Yeah. Okay. You are so welcome. Thank you for all the thank yous. And I think with that in mind, like, unless there are a few, see, I'm not totally sure with the 20-second delay. I don't want to end it because you might just like hear me, right? So I'm just going to sit here for 20 seconds and I'm going to close off the program, but I'm not going to do it until I for sure know that everybody's questions have been answered. And Jennifer Beal, thank you for having all of us together and bringing us together. So that's been awesome. And stay tuned. I'm literally going to sit here for 20 seconds just to be sure. I'm watching the live feed so I can sort of see it. Thanks and bye. Everyone, I'm just getting pulled up. Nice to see everybody here. And just trying to get Jennifer Beal to come in, and I can't figure out how to add her because my button went missing. So that's that. Fun to be a pioneer. I'm going to think that way. Click on her name and picture and then think there is a menu that you can drop down. Sarah Bibb, you are my hero today. Let's see if that works.